So Nabeel, what's the big announcement? Hello everyone, my name is Ben Coley, editor of QSR Magazine, and I'm here with James Walker and Nabeel Alamgir with Lunchbox. So Nabeel, what's the big announcement?
So we have three big announcements. I will try to keep it brief. First one is, when we started Lunchbox, we wanted to be the all-in-one solution, the right partner for you for all things off-premise, right? We've seen incredible on-premise partners. We wanted to be a great on-premise partner. And that came with being the all-in-one solution, your great app, web, and all these things. We think there is the next iteration, the next era of Lunchbox that is at our doorstep. We want to respond to that. We'll talk more about that. That is all things AI. That's announcement one. I have two more. Announcement two is we are very excited to announce we have been selected by Shift4 and by SkyTab, their POS, their enterprise POS, as their enterprise off-premise partner. That selection came with funding from them as well. So excited to announce that funding. We'll talk more about that. And third, and the more important one is, we have this incredible board member we've been working with, James Walker. He's been awesome, and he's just had this great vision on where does the company need to go to succeed in enterprise. We were somehow able to convince him to come in and join as our CEO. So I'll be stepping down from CEO to executive chairman, and James Walker will be stepping in as our CEO. So those are the three big announcements, and we're just really excited to chat with you today and tell you more about all of those things.
You wondered why I was here.
So James, you've served as a board member for Lunchbox. Kind of tell me about, what's special about this company and what gets you excited about it?
So Lunchbox, when I look at the organization, I'm going to start from the inside and move out. The leadership and culture that Nabeel has built, which is very focused on making sure that we have individuals who truly feel valued. Coming in as a new CEO, one of my concerns was this group of A players, these truly unique, talented individuals. Would they speak up? Would they challenge me? Absolutely. He has built a culture that is not only A performers, but individuals who are willing to speak their mind, to speak up and really voice their opinions. That's really unique. As a leader coming in, one of my fears is not to have that. And in early days, it's been very clear that this group of just incredibly talented individuals are willing to speak their mind. So that's one of the things that I think is really unique. I think the organization's focus on truly being of value to the restaurant industry. Now, obviously, the restaurant industry is what drives our ARR and ultimately the cash flow and profitability of the organization. I have been on calls that going into the call, our sales team and our founder knew that there was no way that that organization would move the needle on the profitability side for Lunchbox. And we took that call, or they took that call, simply because they felt that they could add value and knowledge to that organization. And that's a team and that's an organization that I want to be part of. So looking from the outside in, he doesn't always mention it, but I was a customer before I was a board member, is great technology, a willingness to work on restaurant hours. We'll talk a little bit more about that maybe as we go on. But these are individuals that are a phone call away, that understand the needs of a restaurant. All restaurateurs know the fear of your fry later going down at 7 p.m. on a Friday and hearing, "We'll see you Monday afternoon." Lunchbox is an organization where if you have a challenge within your organization or within your tech stack, and we can help problem solve that for you, it doesn't matter when that issue occurs, there's going to be a Lunchbox team member there to help you. And I think that's really unique and exciting for myself as a restaurant operator.
Definitely, I can definitely see the passion come through with Lunchbox for sure.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you can. It's there for sure. I'm trying to be low key, but absolutely.
Oh, great. Sounds great, James. We've had the pleasure to work together a couple times.
A number of times.
But you have, a lot of experience in the restaurant industry. You've worked with Subway, Cinnabon, and Nathan's Famous. So tell us a little bit about, this journey with Lunchbox and your transition into technology.
I really like that question. And by the way, he always talks about how he was able to incentivize me to take this position. Part of it is my mom coffee, my mom pastries, every time we meet. So excited about that. I would say, to me, this is not a real transition, which makes it sound like I'm leaving one industry and going to another. I've been a huge proponent of technology within the restaurant space and how you create a best-in-class customer experience through technology for many, many years, working with startups as either a board of advisor member or working as a mentor to CEOs. So the decision to move from board member to full-time with Lunchbox is coming from, I think, a place of knowledge of how exciting this point in time is for Lunchbox. So coming from that position, I see them at an inflection point led by Nabeel and all the great work that he's done and the great work he's doing right now that he's going to talk about, but also this fantastic alliance with Shift4 and their investment. And lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't mention part of what gets me really excited, having worked more closely over the past couple of months, is just the fantastic culture and team that Nabeel has built within the organization. So a group of really passionate A players that are really at the top of their game.
Founders want to build things, and founders somehow come in and they automatically are the CEO. And while I really loved the last 4 years in bringing us where it is from 1 to 10, what do we need to go from 10 to 100? What do we need in terms of product and leadership to go global, to serve every enterprise restaurants in the country? And that is a hard role to give up, right? Because this is your baby, you really want to make it amazing. But working with James for the last year has been incredible. I don't know anyone who has been to more restaurants. I don't know anyone who's flying more to meet customers. I don't know anyone who is out there and just constantly talking about, hey, I love Taco Bell, how can we fix this one thing? Hey, I love KFC, how can we fix these things? This is what he breathes and lives, and I hope other founders get lucky enough where they meet someone like that and they're like, you'd be such a great CEO for this company. Can you come join us and help us get to that next era, right? And can I go back to building? Can we do this together? We've had an incredible partnership over the years. So this is a tested relationship. This is not us betting on each other. We've been, testing this out for 12 months, and it's just been a pleasure. Yeah.
So I think it would be a good opportunity to also get into more about the Shift4 partnership. Could you explain a little bit more about how this partnership is going to, uplift Lunchbox and benefit you guys in the future?
My perspective is, what a great company that is, right? I have all this amazing entrepreneurs I study. And I don't know if you know anything about their founder, but he's skywalked. He's gone to space. He's broken records with his jet that he flies himself. This is someone who is just an entrepreneur's entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
So it's a great company, great culture, right? So selfishly, I just want to hang out with these entrepreneurs. But for the company, I think what is really exciting is, hey, we are best-in-class enterprise off-premise. We consider them best-in-class, not only everything, they're global, they're everywhere. They're the Nets. They are supporting all the merchants at the Nets Stadium, right? I was there, cashless, it's all powered by them, right? And they have created such a great experience there. They're at over 100,000 places around the country, right? We want to learn from them and go to those places. They are doing so great in all things on-premise. We think that is exciting. We think there's a lot of similarities in culture, and having them by our side, we can learn a lot from them. So those are some of the things I am excited about. I'll let you handle the rest.
Yeah, I would agree with everything Nabeel said. Lunchbox is a brand, and part of what drives that brand is the fantastic culture that Nabeel has built over the years. Working very closely over the past 60 days with the team at Shift4, they have a very similar culture. We're able to discuss things with them in a very casual fashion. It's not a situation where we've got to build up a Zoom call or get something on the calendar. It can be an early morning text. It can be a Saturday afternoon call. So we're able to align with this fantastic performance-based culture that they have and lean on their knowledge as we look to expand more fully into enterprise. I think both domestically and potentially looking at the demand that exists. I would say pent-up demand internationally for Lunchbox. So we see it as an opportunity. There are customers internationally that are saying, listen, we need your services. A alliance with a group like Shift4 allows us to do that, I think, more rapidly and more accurately.
Yeah. So many Saturday calls.
So many Saturday calls. A few Sunday morning calls.
Yes.
So going big picture for a second, leading up to the pandemic, the restaurant industry sort of had this label as kind of lagging in technology and compared to other sectors. But with the pandemic, it forced restaurants to really innovate around technology. So Years later, going into 2025, I want to get perspectives from both of you guys about, what are sort of the biggest trends that you guys are seeing in technology? We saw, one big restaurant group go in-house with their own, platform, so that was big news. I believe there's another fast casual out there who's doing something proprietary with their tech stack. So what are some of the things that you guys are seeing out there in the restaurant industry?
So I'll speak at this stage from just my experience being in a restaurant, in an operating company. There's a lot of confusion in the C-suite. Who should I partner with? How many partners should I have? Just looking at a diagram of what the usual technology stack within a restaurant organization looks like, it's hard to keep track of. You have not associated partners providing individual services who don't work well together. They don't communicate both from a technology standpoint, but also just from a communication standpoint. So I think when you look at the offerings that Lunchbox has, we're really in a position to provide a broader suite of services with a single point of contact, and a point of contact that works restaurant hours. That's one of the things I have loved, and we didn't mention, I was a customer of Lunchbox before I was a board member, is the ability, if you want to move quickly in organizations, I think many restaurant organizations are suffering right now. They need to move quickly. If something's going to provide incremental revenue, accretive profitability, they need all of their partners to move at their speed. Lunchbox is one of those companies that can move at that speed and work restaurant hours. I can call him at 9 o'clock at night, or I could get him on the phone on a Saturday if we needed assistance with something. So I think that's what restaurants are looking for right now. They're looking for a way to consolidate with a group they trust, with technology they trust, that they're able to communicate to on a restaurant timetable.
I mean, what time did we start texting this morning?
Well, I think it was right before 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yesterday we were on a call with a potential customer who was yelling at us saying, stop giving me options, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'll do it, tell me what to
Yeah.
do. And we were texting each other laughing like she doesn't want 3 options. She's literally telling us, Nabeel and James, what are we doing? Tell me the next 3 things to do, send me the lines, I'll sign on it, right?
Yeah. Out of frustration.
Out of frustration.
She'd been talking to other technology companies. She'd been talking to, I'm not going to do the air quotes, but just imagine I did, to other experts in the field.
Yeah.
And basically came back to Lunchbox and Nabeel specifically and said, listen, I need somebody I trust. Tell me what I need to bring to the board this week that will allow me to move my brand forward.
And here's my take on where is tech headed. In 2019, right, a few days before the pandemic, we started our company. And our bet was very simple. Wow, look at what Domino's and Sweetgreen has built. We want to be a company that builds that. We don't think that should be 10 companies, we think that should be 1 company. That was our vision on day 1. And it was a vision that came out of just me being a restaurant operator who was struggling to put that together, right? And I think we're at the 10% done with that vision. There's a long way to go, but that's why so many folks are resonating with us. That's why Papa John's or Firehouse Subs, all 1,200 location of them, are saying, yes, this is the company we want to bet on, because when I need to expand on my off-premise evolution, you're still the company. I don't have to call another new number, right? So that is our first bet we have made, right? I think our next bet that we're excited to go really double down on is AI. How do we go ahead and not fall behind as an industry? We have constantly been 5-10 years behind Silicon Valley or commerce. Why? There's no reason for it. Our food moves faster. Our food needs to be delivered faster to the consumer than something you order from Sephora. I don't know why Sephora came first to mind. Is it because I'm wearing concealer?
It could be.
I don't know. But either way, urgency is needed in this industry. Tech providers are not moving with the same urgency. So while he's leading this company and taking us to the next frontier as our CEO, I'm excited to go all in on 3 AI tools we're building for our consumers. And that's what consumers are looking for. They're not looking for AI. They're looking for, can you solve my problems very quickly? And we think AI is that solution. We're sitting on millions of users, billions of orders right now. That's large language model that we are building on top of, and we're building 3 technologies on top of that we can discuss more shortly, that we think our consumers will say, finally. I didn't know I needed AI, but I needed the solution.
Right. And I think it's more about the solution.
Yeah.
You hear AI constantly. To find out that there's no real AI driving the solution. AI is the means to the solution, but from a consumer standpoint, from a restaurant operator standpoint, it's solutions that provide real value. The way that Nabeel was able to get there with the engineering team is using and exploiting artificial intelligence to provide a real, tangible, insightful solution. So it's not just a buzzword or a marketing campaign.
So Nabeel, you brought up a good point. When you started Lunchbox, you were trying to solve a problem as an operator. And James, you have plenty of experience as an operator. We just listed out, the companies that you've worked with. So hoping both of you kind of describe to me the benefits of having that prior experience as an operator, now in the seat as a tech vendor, how that, that prior knowledge helps you guys, be able to relate to these operators who are going through these struggles and help them get to the solutions that they need.
Again, a question I really enjoy. I think it's critical that you understand the needs of the consumer. And the way that Nabeel and I have discussed him really focusing his energy on an area of Lunchbox that he is uniquely suited to lead, the technology, really driving that innovation, making sure that our solutions are real solutions that provide value. I think that's really important. My position is really to work with enterprise customers where I understand the needs that they have, the pain points they have, the frustrations they have, because I've felt all of them. As part of the immersion, I've been on sales calls, and after these sales calls, it's not unusual for the individual within the restaurant company to call me and say, well, James, what did you think? Well, I'm on the sales call, but I'm not a salesman. I'm not here to be a salesman for Lunchbox. I'm here to be a conduit to really make sure that Lunchbox is providing those solutions that make sense and address these issues within the industry.
I think so much of our culture has restaurateurs and operators in it, right? He mentioned working hours. We have a core value that says our customers are not always right, but they're always first. And I think that's how hospitality should be, right? And I think we have a lot of hospitality within our technology. But let's look at the tech we're building to go ahead and resonate with them, be empathetic towards them. The cost of hiring someone and keeping someone within the restaurant is going higher and higher every day. Labor cost is a big concern. So one of the 3 technologies we're building is, hey, when you call the restaurant, we don't want to send it to your person you have there, the front of house staff or the counter person. We want to send it to our AI tool that will take the order, that will be completely natural language, that will laugh if you laughed, that will have some sass, and that will go ahead and communicate with you to get this order wrapped up. Because that is not the best use of the front of house staff time, to be on the phone for average call that is 7 minutes. What they should focus on is making sure everyone within the 4 walls are very happy. Because things go wrong all the time and you need to be alert. You need to know we forgot a sauce. You need to know someone is not happy with the meal. Even though we send them all the meal, we need to take care of them, right? A lost customer is the most expensive customer, right? So I think that's the way we're building our technology. That's the way we've always built our company. Like, we know what operators are going through. That's the way we even have our contracts. Like, hey, if you're not happy, we're not going to lock you up for 3 years. So it's A to Z. It's, hey, like, would we like this as an operator? Would we eat this as restaurateurs? Right. And I think that's how we've designed the entire company.
So I think two things I would pull out of there, if you'd indulge me, is the focus on satisfaction for the individuals within the 4 walls. So not just the customers, but certainly the employees. So this technology is not designed to say, listen, we want to wipe out your workforce. We want to make your workforce more productive and more satisfied with their job, so they'll do a better job with the customer. So I think that's really important. And then Nabeel talking about just how we view partnerships and contracts. There are, and certainly wouldn't mention any names, but there are what I would refer to as predatory technology companies out there that oversell their services and make it difficult to change because that's their model. The health club of technology companies. So you have an organization that Nabeel has built that really recognizes, listen, we want partners, true partners that we enjoy working with, that enjoy working with us where we're providing real value. And I think that's really unique, and that's something else I wanted to be aligned with.
Sure. So to pick out one thing that you guys have been working on recently, catering. That's been a big segment that's growing among the restaurant industry. People are going back into offices. There's a real demand for it. So you guys could kind of dive in, what you guys have kind of seen from your perspective and where the growth opportunities with catering.
I think what Lunchbox is always trying to do is push the conversation forward. And sometimes too early. And sometimes when it's too early, it's frustrating. Like, hey, we're not ready for that conversation. But we love being there. Because we want restaurateurs to find their edge, and we want to help them with technology, right? Technology is just 20% of all of this, maybe less. right? So much of this is conversations and getting restaurateurs excited about, hey, when the economy is struggling, don't cut your catering budget. That's where we should go double down on, right? So we're trying to have a conversation that's about technology, and we're trying to have a conversation that is also about, hey guys, we have to be consultative here. How do we go ahead and increase our AOVs, increase our frequency, make our check averages bigger? We need to have these conversations, right? Yes, I want you to sign up with our tech, right? But we need to figure this out together first. So what have we done? We said, okay, if you look at CAGR within the four walls, between now and end of decade is growing 1%. Not a lot. We've maximized how many people we can feed within the four walls. And what we want to do is look at, okay, where's the growth opportunity? 7% in off-premise, and even higher in catering between now and end of decade. So what's happening there? What's happening is the pandemic has maximized small batch ordering, ordering a $20 check, but not the $200 check. We want to help restaurants there, right? And we want to help them knowing that maybe the CEO is not bought in yet. Right. Maybe the director of catering is, but the CEO is not. Okay, let's give you tech that is very affordable. You can turn on and off. Let's give you call center. We've acquired a call center, right? So if you don't have staff who can go help with these catering, white glove service orders, we'll give you dedicated staff for like $3 a call, all right? We'll work with you with it. What else is your blocker? Hey, we don't know how to design the menu. We have consultants for free ready to help you design your menu. Right? Hey, what about packaging? Well, we worked with Chopped and Dos Toros, some of the best catering packaging. Let's go and talk about that too. So it is 20% tech and so much more everything around the tech. We're trying to drive that conversation, and it's working, it's happening. Like, this is where you're growing double digit year over year, while the entire brand maybe is growing single digit.
Yeah, I think catering is a great example of where Lunchbox has clearly put themselves as the tent pole in an ongoing movement. And not just for the benefit of Lunchbox. I think there has been at least 2 calls over the last week with a customer that wouldn't really fall in our paradigm of enterprise, too small for us, but we just were willing to get, or Nabeel and the team willing to get on the call and say, let us educate you on what's out there, what best practices are, and help, and really do that because we want to be an organization known for catering, excuse the pun, to the industry and their needs. And we hope that benefits us part of the time, but that's not the only goal. We really want to make sure that we are squarely in the center of what's driving profitability for the industry itself.
Great. So a lot of people watching this interview are probably wondering, what's next for Lunchbox? What's in it, for the customers? What can the industry expect from you guys going forward?
I think our CEO role got a massive upgrade. And I think there's a lot of benefits for the industry that I want James to share a little bit on that we discussed, right? And I think what I get to do now is not be fighting 2 different battles, one on the technology side, one on the CEO side. I get to focus a little bit on technology. So I will let him discuss how our customers and the industry at large will benefit from James coming in and steering the ship. On the product side, I mentioned the AI call center. The 2 other products we're working on, one is AI suggestion, which is we have, like I mentioned, almost 1 billion plus orders. We're going to now tell you, based on what is in your cart, based on who you are, we know if you're vegan. We know if you like something spicy. We know if you like to go ahead and add a little extra in the end. You can't help yourself. Maybe always have dessert in the end. Because of all of that, we're really working on a AI suggestion tool to go ahead and help with pairing. Imagine a sommelier at a great restaurant helping you pair a wine. We're doing all of that with all things food, all things delivery, all things off-premise. That is, I'll say, less than 30 days out, right? And then the third thing we're working on is we think it's really complicated for restaurants to manage all their menus because they don't have a single menu. Like if we went to McDonald's here, they don't have a single menu. They have a menu for in-store, for pickup, for delivery. Delivery has a menu for Uber Eats versus DoorDash versus app. We think that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And we think it's hard to manage all of that. So we're creating, almost like Jarvis from Iron Man, we're creating like a Siri type tool where you can say, I ran out of fries. Turn it off. It will turn it off everywhere. Because we are the order aggregator as well, right? We take all your third-party orders and we inject into the POS as well. We manage your app as well, right? Your website as well. So we can now go ahead and create you an assistant that is maybe 2 full-time employees that will help you go ahead and manage your menu, manage your restaurants, and so much more. So those are the things that we get to work on now because we're lucky enough to have James be our CEO. James, I'll give it to you.
Sure, thank you, great setup. So I'm going to talk about 3 different areas that I'll focus on, and I'm going to do them in reverse order. Okay. So I think the third thing that I'm going to really hope to bring to Lunchbox is allow Nabeel to really focus on what's next. He's a futurist. He is in the middle of technology. He's looking ahead. I've said to him, Nabeel, you need to wake up happy and excited and rested every day so you can have that next big idea. And let me deal with, opening the mail and answering the phone. We don't need Nabeel doing that. So allowing him to focus on those things that within the industry, he is uniquely focused on and uniquely well suited to deal with. The second is, as part of this investment from Shift 4, we were selective as well. We selected them. We love the idea of being able to be aligned with them. There were a lot of other potential investors. So part of my role will be looking at working through who else we should allow into, I think, the family of Lunchbox, because there's still a lot of investors that would like to take part in the future of this great organization and the growth that we're not only experiencing today, but the growth that's in the immediate future. The most important role, number one, is really forward-looking, interacting with the customers, ensuring that their needs are being met, and hearing what they see down the road. So I'm able to bring that back and say, Nabeel, talk to 4 different restaurant CEOs. They're saying, listen, this is what I'm going to need in 6 months, so that Nabeel is there with the technology when their need arises. And that's something I'm super excited about, to be able to be out in an industry I absolutely love. Nabeel knows this of me. I wake up in the morning and all day is really focused on what's going on in the industry. It's an industry I love, whether it's fast food or whether it's fine dining and everything in between. So the ability for me to spend the vast majority of my time interacting with restaurateurs, helping to solve their problems and make them more profitable using these fantastic solutions that Nabeel and his team have built and are building, super exciting to me.
I was at dinner 2 nights ago with him and 2 of your colleagues that I mentioned, 2 reporters. And these reporters were just at the edge of their seat extracting information from him instead of the other way around. And I was just watching with so much pride, like, this company is in great hands, which is like my number one concern. Like, we have someone who loves and breathes and lives a little bit insane, completely coexist in this industry, is part of this industry, And I think that is exactly what the next iteration of Lunchbox needs. That is what this industry needs for us to move the conversation forward, right? So we're really excited about that.
I think when you look at tech companies that do truly phenomenal things, it's because they understand their customer and the customer needs. And Apple is creating things that I absolutely need, I absolutely have to have. And I think being able to communicate back the needs of the industry and be a pipeline and a conduit back to Nabeel and the technology team is unique. And I don't see that in a lot of technology companies within the restaurant industry. I really don't. I think this is very unique, this focus on let's make sure that we are providing real value to these organizations. I think that's unique.
So Nabeel, am I not going to be able to call you anymore?
First of all, you never call me. You are, I text you. I've never felt more rejected. It's just blue text from me. Blue text, blue text, blue text, blue text, blue text. And once in a while you're like, hey, who's this? Blue text, blue text. I'm kidding.
Hard to get,
No, we were talking to our team yesterday. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to move to my zone of happiness, right? Which is building disruptive things. Some of which are very profitable, some of which maybe are not going to be profitable, right? That's what I want to focus on. In terms of our customers, they all have my cell phone. They just have an additional cell phone now to call as well, right? So that's how we're trying to do this. The partnership we have is so uniquely positioned where there's not a Venn diagram where we're overstepping too much of what the other person wants to do, right? But sometimes our customers will want to call me because they want to talk about their integration. And sometimes they want to talk to James because they want to talk about, hey, what else are you seeing in the market? And now they get to make 2 different phone calls, right? And I think that's exciting.
So this sounds like this is Nabeel's idea, and it's not. So Nabeel had said to me, if you're going to come in as CEO, you're going to be the voice of the company, you're going to be the one that customers called. And I said, Nabeel, you have, within this organization, you've built such a rapport and credibility with so many customers. I can't get in the way of that. I'll happy to be an additional resource. So those individuals, those companies that have a great relationship for many years with Nabeel, they're still going to have his number. So that was really a mandate for me. So when I look at this inflection point, we've used that a lot. We really are at an inflection point where you're going to begin to see this accelerated growth that Lunchbox has enjoyed over the last year accelerate to really phenomenal levels. We want to make sure that we're being very careful that the individuals who have helped bring us to this point, both the customers and employees, are satisfied that they're still going to be taken care of. So that's really, really important to us. As I said, the value of this organization, not just the technology and the culture, but the people within our organization and our current customer base. So they will still have Nabeel's phone number, and absolutely they know how to get in touch with him. We want to make sure that those relationships remain intact.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben.
I think
Really
I
appreciate
speak on behalf of the industry and all your customers that we all look forward to seeing what Lunchbox has next.
Thank you. Great. Thank you.